Hi folks, welcome back to the shop. Quick video today. While I'm in the process of updating the CNC machine, making a few more changes to help with some parts, I thought I'd revisit some of the footage I took a little while ago, which I hummed and hawed about for some time as to whether or not to actually post it. And, the dilemma really is kind of conflicted views on whether this type of content should be posted or not, and hope you understand why as I explain. I also point out I'm going to sit on a chair today. I have a habit, I notice when I'm making these videos, is I move around a lot and I tend to look down a lot when I get to the end of a sentence. When I try and stitch out my ums and ahs and the pauses I have between points I'm trying to get across, it's an absolute nightmare. So hopefully if I sit still and keep looking, maybe it'll look a bit better. Anyway, the conflicted views is to do with intellectual property. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I am capable of reading and understanding law, which I do an awful lot of in my spare time. So this part technically has some intellectual property. Now that said, there is some background to the request, and this is one of the things you get when you do a lot of custom parts. You get asked to do an awful lot of stuff which is definitely infringing on a lot of intellectual property, a lot of copyright rules, and for the most part I turn around and say no, or I look at the part and try and understand does it fit in with the current copyright rules. And this part was kind of borderline. I couldn't find a definitive answer to that question, and to be honest with you, it wasn't available. What the client was wanting wasn't available commercially anyway, and they had a specific reason for asking, and I kind of felt that this was one exception to the rule that I would make. The part in question is an object from a popular movie. I'm not going to mention the part or the movie during the whole video, but you will see it clearly once the video starts playing. But the part itself was very prominent in the video, and the customer wanted it to look as accurate as possible. He was having his friend dressed up, and he'd gone to great expense to acquire the right costume and the right hat for this object to go onto, and he wanted it to look as real as possible. And the reason behind that was he had a very severely disabled son with very minimal expressions, so he wasn't able to give any clues to the average person whether he liked or disliked something. But as a parent, he and his wife could see clearly when they were doing something right, and their son absolutely loved this particular film, so he wanted to make his birthday, you never know how many more birthdays they've got, he wanted to make that birthday extra special, and as close to the replica of the original film as he could. Naturally, on hearing this, it kind of pulls up the old heartstrings and makes you think twice. So I decided on this occasion, against my normal views on these things, that I would go ahead and make the part. So this video is me making the part, and you see the result at the end. Okay, so now we've got the part on the bed, piece of brass, which we're going to cut out. The first operation is to engrave in the name of the film in the top. After looking at the original design and looking at the way it looked on the video clips or the clips I've seen. I've never seen the film, I do admit. One of my neighbours is a big fan, but I've personally never seen it. I decided to do a pocket operation with a 60-degree V-bit to get the initial name on the badge. Once we got the B bit done, the next operation was to then cut out the internal letters. These were done with from memory, a 1.5mm DLC single flute. I may have used 2mm later on for the exterior shape, but certainly for the internal letters I had to go down to 1.5. I was therefore very careful with the feeds and speeds, because obviously cutting brass can be entertaining. One thing I will say is, in the UK, that we don't get or it's not as easy to get the brass that's available in the US, which is a high aluminium content, which is a much softer and easier to cut brass. Over here, our brass is a much harder version, and therefore we had to be more conservative with our feeds and speeds. So there you go. Now it's all been cut out. We've done the internal letters. We've got the shape cut out with the slightly larger bit, and it's all finished apart from the cleanup. So I've now got to deburr it, which I'm not going to do on camera. It's a laborious process because it involves just very carefully going down the edges without obviously marking the surface. The client is then going to actually finish fitting it to the hat, and you'll see the finished result in a moment. And they fitted some Chicago screws to actually adhere it to the hat, which I thought was a great touch and finish. Again, again replicating that of the original in the movie. All in all, very pleased. I don't do a lot of brass. I'd like to do more, but it's one of those, it is quite expensive to buy over here, so by the time you factor that price in and then the price of setting up and machining, because invariably you do have to be more careful because it's a harder material, so it does take longer, reflected in the pricing. It's not as commonly purchased, shall we say, as an option when I give my quotes. But that said, it's a great medium, and the one or two bits I do get to do, I thoroughly enjoy doing them, even though they may cause me the stress initially while I'm obviously babying it as it's going around, just to make sure it does do it correctly. But anyway, there we go. That is the end result. I think you'll agree that it looks pretty good, and as you can imagine, the customer was very pleased. This is his photo that he sent me afterwards. He was delighted with the result, and I believe his son was after the party as well. So all in all, great day's work, and I'm now glad I posted it here, and I should have done it a lot sooner, I think. I was happily filming the talking to the camera, then doing the voiceover bits for the bit in the middle, and my light went out, so I've got to recharge the battery on that. Hey ho. Fortunately, the camera seems to be working fine today. I mean, it's not a dull day, but anyway, hope you enjoyed the film. I do appreciate you watching to the end, if you got to now. I'd be very interested to know what your thoughts were on A, the subject, and B, doing this kind of stuff. And I'd also be interested to know if you'd have gone ahead or you'd have suggested another alternative option. So there we go, the brass video I wanted to post but hesitated. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you again soon on the next video.